This is episode 506. And before we get into the 6 dimensions of wellness, going to do a quick review on 7 powerful tips for personal growth. And again, this was last time's podcast. And if you want to go to warriormindcoach.com, look up the podcast there with the show notes, please do. I'm going to go through these quickly, just a review. If you haven't heard them, you might create some curiosity for you to find out more. Number 1, act. Have a dream. We have to take action. For personal growth, we have to take action to make things happen. Action is what makes the invisible visible. Confront your comfort zone. Whatever you're doing today, whatever you're comfortable doing, you got to challenge it. You got to find out what is going to help you step out of your comfort zone. Read about biographies. Read about things that are interesting you. Read, because the more you can read, the more information, the more neurosynapses, the more brain connections, the more resources you have. And that could be read or listen or watch if it's something of value. Follow an example. So find a person, I don't want to say an idol, but find somebody who is living the part of that life that you want to, whether it's financial, relationships, physical, emotional, and use them as an example and mirror them and mimic them and check into their beliefs and their values and let them be an example for you. Keep challenging yourself. This goes in with the comfort zone, but the challenging yourself, it could be learn something new every day. Do something that scares you every day. Do something that challenges yourself every single day, and that will help you confront your comfort zone. Become physically strong. When you can get strong, you actually are going to confront your comfort zone. You're going to keep challenging yourself. You're going to act, all these things. So becoming physically strong helps incorporate a lot of what we've already talked about. Don't do everything, meaning that when we're on a personal growth journey, there's so many things that we want to do. Just take one aspect of your life, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. I picked the physical first, work on that for 3 months, and then work on something else for 3 months. And this is the way I break up one of my 1-year coaching programs is dedicated just to this, is taking those 4 aspects, the mental, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual, and working with my client for 3 months until they get that dialed into where they want to. Then we move to something else. So those are the 7 powerful tips for personal growth. Now, let's get on to wellness, because it's part of personal growth, and wellness is a broad topic, but wellness, so let's talk about what wellness is, the definition. Wellness is a conscious, self-directed, and evolving process of achieving full potential. Wow, doesn't that sound exciting? That is right up my alley. It's kind of like self-mastery. Wellness also is a multidimensional and holistic, meaning it encompasses such factors as lifestyle, mental, spiritual well-being, and the environment. Wellness is positive and affirming. So just keep these things in mind as we go through this a little bit further. But that's kind of the definition of wellness. And there's this 6-dimension of wellness model developed by Dr. Bill Hetler, co-founder of the National Wellness Institute. And this is an interdependent model that takes in different aspects, the 6 dimensions of wellness, and we're going to go through those 6 dimensions real quick here. So the first is occupational, and the occupational dimension recognizes personal satisfaction and enrichment in one's life through work. Hey, how many of you are enjoying work? How many of you are finding meaning and satisfaction in the work that you do? How many are living your purpose through your work? If not, it might not fall into the wellness category. So here's the concept behind the occupational wellness dimension is it is better to choose a career which is consistent with your personal values, interests, and beliefs than to select one that is unrewarding to us. Yes, the pay may be different, and after a while, the pay is going to become insignificant. So this is, as Carlos Castaneda talks about, this is finding a path with heart. And it's also better to develop functional, transferable skills through structured involvement opportunities than to remain inactive and uninvolved. That means if you're at a job, at a career, expand yourself, step out of your comfort zone, learn new things so that you can take these skills within your company or go someplace else. The physical dimension. So the physical dimension recognizes the need for regular physical activity, which includes hydration, nutrition, cardiovascular strength training, flexibility. And here the presumption of this dimension is it's better to consume foods and beverages that enhance good health rather than those which impair it. Can you think of any beverages or foods that you might be consuming right now that do not support good health, but rather they take away from it? Could be fast food, it could be excess alcohol, it could be sugary sodas, it could be even smoking, it could be so many things, right? So if what you're doing doesn't support good health and it impairs it, that doesn't fall into that wellness dimension. And it's better to be physically fit than out of shape. That's a duh, but when we think about being physically fit, we know we're supposed to, but this is part of the wellness, right? So when we want to live a wellness, meaning that when you're engaged in all these 6 dimensions, you have the opportunity to live up to your full potential. If any of these dimensions is lacking, you will not, period, will not reach your full potential, and you will have wasted and squandered that throughout your lifetime. How does that feel? I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast for the first time or many times, you know I'm about self-mastery, peak performance, and wellness is the key to achieving that. Social. So the social dimension encourages contributing to one's environment and community. That could go out and help start a community garden. It could be picking up the trash. It could be talking with people, engaging, helping people. It could look 1,000 different ways, but it's better to contribute to the common welfare of our community than to think only of ourselves. That could be if you live in a snowy area, I'm just going to go out and shovel my driveway, the heck with everybody else. This dimension says I'll shovel my driveway, I'll start helping my neighbor, I'll help my other neighbor, and then when everybody comes out, if everybody had the same mindset, the snow would be removed quickly, but instead of thinking of yourself only. And it's better to live in harmony with others and our environment than to live in conflict with them, right? I'm sure you've had neighbors that you just don't get along with for whatever reason it may be, and you've also probably had neighbors that you were wonderful. What did you enjoy more? Probably the neighbors that you got along with, and also your environment. If you have weeds and your grass is overgrowing and you live in some horrible place, it's probably a lot better to live in a place where the garden is tended and you have flowers and you have beautiful scenery. Even if you're in an apartment, you can do this. So that's the social dimension. The intellectual dimension recognizes one's creative, stimulating mental activities, kind of thinking outside the box, thinking of being creative. This could be the creative part. It could also include strategic thinking and critical thinking. Basically, it's thinking differently. And it's better to stretch and challenge your minds with intellectual and creative pursuits than become self-satisfied and unproductive. This is kind of like a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Wow, wouldn't it be great to go to school and learn biochemistry? Well, maybe not so much. How about a different language? How about learning about the brain, how the brain works, and the mind is a part of the brain? How about learning how your body works? Just the intellectual part, just learning something as opposed to watching mindless TV or listening to mindless podcasts or mindless anything. This is part of the dimension of wellness. And it's better to identify potential problems and choose appropriate courses of action based on availability information to wait, worry, and contend with major concerns later. So with the intellectual part, it's better to identify, and it's not that we're going to focus on the problems, but we have to know if we're going after a goal, we're going to hit obstacles. What might those obstacles be, and then how do we get around them? Not just stop with the obstacle, but with this intellectual part, it's thinking. Stoics used to do this a lot, or the Stoics did this a lot, is they would wake up in the morning, think of what they wanted to get accomplished, think of the obstacles in their way, then think on how they would surmount them. So they were using that intellectual dimension of wellness. and the spiritual dimension. So the spiritual dimension recognizes our search for meaning and purpose in human existence. Wow, that is just calming and it's inspiring. And it's better to ponder the meaning of life for ourselves and to be tolerant of the beliefs of others than to close our minds and become intolerant. So when we say tolerant, we can listen to, we don't have to change our beliefs. But isn't it great to be able to communicate and listen and understand how somebody can believe what they do without having to browbeat them into submission? And isn't it better just to contemplate the meaning of life for yourself? When we focus on this part of ourselves, this is a part that being selfish is okay. When we focus on ourselves, we then can bring our best to those around us. And it's better to live each day in a way that is consistent with our values and beliefs than to do otherwise and feel untrue to ourselves. So that means you have to understand what your values and beliefs are. And this is where coaching comes so handy, is a coach can help you identify your values. Yes, there's some value assessments online which do a wonderful job, but there's no belief assessment online. And this is where coach, and when you know your values and beliefs, you then can align those and live a spiritually filled life. The emotional part, the emotional dimension recognizes awareness and acceptance of one's feelings. It's okay to feel what you feel. If you're feeling angry, it's okay. If you're feeling sad, it's okay. If you're feeling happy, it's okay. All feelings are okay, just like all colors are okay. No color is bad or worse than the other. Same with feelings. No feeling is bad or worse than the other. And when you can embrace all your feelings and emotions, you're then embracing this dimension of wellness. And it's better to be aware of and accept our feelings than to deny them, because what is repressed needs to be expressed. And it's better to be optimistic in our approach in life than pessimistic, meaning that not putting on rose-colored glasses and sticking our head in the sand, but there is something positive in everything. There is a positive nugget. There's a nugget of gold in every single opportunity. And when we see that, can look for that, we can then be able to manage our emotions better. So how do you apply these? So by applying the model, the sixth dimension model, a person can become more aware of the interconnectedness of each dimension and how they contribute to their healthy living. And this is what I would like to challenge you to do. Listen to the podcast again. Go to where the podcast is hosted. Look at the show notes and start to rank yourself on these different dimensions. Because the enrichment of life through work and its interconnectedness to living and playing it. And this is contributing to healthy living. These are some bullet points that you can take away of what is healthy living. And this applying these six dimensions model is the development of belief systems and values in creating a world view. Also, the benefits of regular physical activity, healthy eating habits, strength, vitality, as well as personal responsibility, self-care when we seek medical attention. So all of these things come into play when we can start to use the sixth dimension of wellness. Self-esteem, self-control, and determination and a sense of direction increase significantly, meaning that you believe in yourself, you know whatever happens, you're going to be okay, and you have a sense of direction in your life. Creative and stimulating mental activities and sharing your gifts with others. These are all things when you start to incorporate the sixth dimension of wellness. The Wellness Institute has devised 3 questions that can help a person assess to the degree to which a wellness is incorporated into a particular program. So whether you create it, follow one online, contact me for coaching around it, or whatever you do, these are 3 questions that you would want to ask. Does this help people? Does this help me/people achieve their full potential? Whatever that model is, whatever that program is it helping you achieve your full potential? Does this recognize and address the whole person, or is it just the emotional? Is it just the physical? Does it address all these 6 dimensions? Is the solution that you're involved in, is the program addressing all these 6 dimensions? And does this affirm and mobilize your positive qualities and strengths, or does it look at your weaknesses and say how to improve them. Yes, the weaknesses are they can be improved, but if we sacrifice your strengths and their positive qualities because we're focusing so much on the weaknesses, you are not going to live up to your full potential. So that was the 6 dimensions of wellness. I know I kind of blew through this one pretty quick. This is why coaching is so important. A coach can work with you, develop a plan for each one of those, create some strategies, some tactics, some deliverables, some action items, resources that you need. But think about this as self-mastery, right? When you can include these 6 dimensions of wellness and embrace them and start to living a life of full potential, how great is that going to be? Next time, again, we'll just see what happens. We'll see what I get inspired with. And I wait for messages to come, emails, other things to come to inspire me on what I want to talk about. Again, if you want to find some more information about me, my coaching, the blog posts, anything, please visit warriormindcoach.com. And also you can follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest under Warrior Mind Coach.